Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Hardfoul Radio. Appreciate you for tuning in. We are back this week after being sick all of last week. Glad to have you guys all in today. And let's just get started, man. Game 5 tonight, Lakers, Suns. No Anthony Davis. Chris Paul still not 100%, but expected to be playing. This series has been 2-2. If you had said it was 2-2 after 5 games, a lot of us might have said, yeah, it could be 2-2 after 5 games. Now, that was before a Chris Paul injury. That was before now an Anthony Davis injury. So even though it's the score of the series is what we expected, it's not how we expected to get here. So game 5 is tonight, and a lot of people are discounting the Lakers with no Anthony Davis. Especially a lot of the talking heads are going to go on today and say if Anthony Davis doesn't play, LeBron's either got to score 50 or they're losing. Now, let's make sure we understand this. There is certain levels of greatness that are only reached by certain and like a very, very few certain amount of athletes. LeBron James has earned that greatness. He has reached that level. And the level I'm talking about is the kind of level where you can start saying you versus the field. And it's the legitimate argument. LeBron's last 9 postseason appearances, he's gone to the NBA Finals every year. Say what you want, say it's Eastern Conference, say, oh, so-and-so was hurt. Doesn't matter. 9 straight years that he's been in the playoffs, he has made it to the NBA Finals. He has deserved and earned a certain level of greatness where him versus the field. Tiger Woods had this. Mike had this. Mike Trout has this in baseball currently where it's, all right, who's the best player? It's Trout or it's Trout. So he has earned the right to not be doubted tonight going into Game 5. Will he need to reach that level of greatness to make sure they win this series? Of course, because Phoenix is a really good team. Because let's say no injuries, right? Let's say Anthony Davis is healthy, but let's also say Chris Paul is healthy. This could still be a 2-2 series regardless. Obviously, LeBron is a mismatch, but Anthony Davis is the Lakers' only other real mismatch. Otherwise, the reason why this team works so well is you have LeBron, AD, 2 top 5 players, and then a bunch of role guys who play their roles excellent. But if you're missing one of those 2 top 5 guys, that means all your role players now have to step up. Now you're asking Kuzma to give you an extra 5 to 10 points. You're asking KCP to shoot a couple more threes, give you 5 to 10 more points. You need these guys to do things they're not used to doing. That's going to disrupt the flow of their game. That's going to just disrupt the flow of the entire game. But like I said, LeBron's reached his greatness where you have to respect it. You can't just inherently doubt him. Otherwise, you look real stupid. So, LeBron is going to go up against a Suns team with a Chris Paul who's getting healthier, Devin Booker, who honestly has not had a great game outside of Game 1, and DeAndre Ayton, who has been playing out of his mind, especially considering his first playoff series. LeBron needs to rise to this occasion. LeBron's also 36. LeBron's done this for X amount of years. Can he do it again tonight? Well, that would be the question. But just because that's the question doesn't mean you should be able to doubt him. So let's look at it this way. We know best player on each team. So then the next thing I think we should do if we want to find, we know LeBron's greatness, we know Chris Paul's greatness. I think the next thing that should be done is let's list off who are the top players in this series. And let's say who's going to be not just for the series, who are going to be the top players for tonight. LeBron's 1. There's no arguing there. Chris Paul would be 2. Devin Booker would be 3. DeAndre Ayton would be 4. Then you could make a case, I could say Jay Crowder's there at number 5. You could make a case Andre Drummond's there at number 5. Even though the Lakers don't know if they really want to start him or Gasol or give more minutes to who. This is the problem LeBron's going to have. You're the best player on the court. We don't deny that. We know this for a fact. But then you start going to players 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you start realizing, oh, the Suns might have 7 of the top 10 players if Anthony Davis isn't out there. Remember, the only times in LeBron James' career that he's really lost, he's overwhelmed. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. In 2007, you could have made a case LeBron was the best player on the court. Tim Duncan also had a case for it. But you could have said LeBron, best player on the court. But then Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, the Spurs, they had more better players 2 through 10 than the Cavaliers did. The second time he played the Spurs in the finals, LeBron was the best player on the court. D-Wade was hurt, breaking down. Chris Bosh also having injuries, not playing as well. Duncan, Parker, Kawhi, Ginobili. The Spurs had more players. The Warriors run. LeBron was the best player on the court. Then it was Steph, Clay, Draymond, and then it was Durant, Steph, Clay, Draymond. And a lot of talking heads are going to come out and say, oh, well, LeBron's never lost a first-round series, and that's all that matters. Oh, he's 14-0 in the first round. Yeah, because he's never usually outmatched like this in the first round in terms of overall depth of a team. So much so that this is why he went to LA and why the Lakers have built their roster the way they have. Instead of having a big three, it's a big two and a bunch of complementary pieces. LeBron has seen what it looks like when he's the best player on the court, but then the majority of 2 through 10 belongs to the other team. Why would he want to go through that again? He just got done with his second stint in Cleveland going through this exact same thing. He's had the big three teams. He's had the really high-end teams. He has the very famous quote, "We're top-heavy." LeBron doesn't want to be top-heavy. LeBron wants 2 through 10 to be on his side. Now, the Lakers have better depth than some of those Cleveland teams did. That's a fact. But they also, in this particular matchup, against the Suns, who might be the second best team in the West, and a lot of people are going to tell you the Suns are the best team or the second best team to the Lakers. And if Anthony Davis isn't playing, a lot of people tell you the Suns are the best team. This is going to be a very pivotal Game 5, because if the Suns beat LeBron and take him out of the playoffs, everything is wide open. Because then you lose one of those outright pillars and institutions of, hey, LeBron's in the playoffs, LeBron's going to the finals. That's off the board. Be a fun Game 5 tonight.